would start, and Elvis would start. And people would hear that Elvis has entered the building. It's a thousand-yard walk, they call it. I've just done 3. So if I'm not as good as Elvis, apologies. Dr. Dixon, Professor Callahan, distinguished guests, those who made it in the snow, faculty members, members of staff, friends and families, good afternoon. I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity to speak to you all today. I think it's a real honour. When Eileen asked me to address the congregation, I scoured the internet, as we've all done in the past year, 2-year period, for some inspiration. And I got a definition of a good graduate speech, which I'll read out to you. A good graduation speech is an inspirational and persuasive speech, the aim of which is to thank, exalt, stimulate to action, motivate, to affect and touch, and to raise to a higher emotional level. No pressure. Now, I've only got 5 minutes, so I don't know whether we'll meet all of the marking criteria, but let's give it a whirl. I've split the speech into 3 parts. So first of all, I want to ask all of the graduates today just to have a think about what you've achieved today. Massive achievement, but we'll go into that in a moment. Then I'd like to thank all of the people who've made it possible, many of whom are here today. And then I'm also going to finalise by briefly talking about the future. Briefly, 1 minute is planned in for that. And when the ceremony's finished, we'll go and have a glass of wine at the academic about it. So before I use up any more time, let's get on with it. Let's start with a reminder of what all of the graduates who are sitting in the middle here have achieved today. You know, being awarded a Master of Science, a Master's degree, is quite an achievement. Less than 5% of the population have one. So I'd like to ask the graduates specifically now to think for a moment about all of the hard work you put in to get this piece of paper. Please think about all of the books you read, and nearly added up approximately how many words you had to read. It's a lot. Think about the number of essays that we all had to write. Think about the exams that we had to study for. And think about all of the information that you had to commit to memory. And then when you've done all of that, just have a quick think about the management project. Now you've done all that hard work, and you've done it successfully, because otherwise you wouldn't be here today. And that's a hell of an achievement. So, you know, can I ask the family and friends also to have a think about how proud these people who are sitting in the middle of the room make you feel. You know, excellent achievement. And what I want to do, and because it's freezing cold, I want to ask you all to give a round of applause. But while you're giving a round of applause for the graduates and what they've achieved today, just have your feet a bit warm up. So as I've just mentioned, the graduates and the loved ones have made a considerable investment of time, money and effort to get this far. We've all had to juggle busy jobs, busy work lives, busy study, and we've had to invest considerable effort to get this far. A master's programme is 180 study credits, and that equates to 1,800 hours of study. And just to put that in a bit of context, 1,800 hours, if you were a top-end McKinsey type consultant charging €300 an hour, you would have earned €540,000. If you'd have been running at about 10 kilometres an hour, which is a bit of a quick walk, you could have completed 430 marathons. So think about what the top athletes would have done. And I love this one, just put it in context, it's beauty. If you'd have been travelling at the same speed as the Apollo 11, you could have got to the moon and back 12 times. And that's 1960s technology. So I personally believe that the commitment that you've all shown, and because it is not easy, but because it was hard, that this achievement becomes all the more impressive. And what I want to ask the graduates again to do is think about that achievement. Enjoy that piece of paper, pick it up, grab it in your hands, and have that fantastic feeling of achievement and accomplishment that you've got today. Keep it, store it in the back of your mind somewhere. Make a mental picture of this beautiful cathedral, the snowy day, and whenever you doubt yourself or you think that you can't make it or people are giving you a hard time, you can always draw on this memory of what you've achieved today. Fantastic, really well done. Of course, we haven't made this achievement in isolation, and this brings me on to my second point, namely to thank all of those who've made it possible. No single student would have made it through to where we are today, and no one would receive a master's degree without the TS Nimbus faculty members. Whilst I can only speak from my own experience, I would say that without exception, they've been excellent. This is about as sincere as I can get. Sometimes we live in a very cynical world, and it's hard to find people who are willing to invest the time and effort and teach with such passion for the benefit of a group of students. I remember in one of our very first lecturers, one of the faculty members who couldn't be here today, explained that he turned down a job with a Porsche for a job where the company car had a bell, 2 wheels, and that was of course his university job. And he did that in order to teach students because that's what he was passionate about. Another particular favourite lecture of mine, just to explain how difficult it can be teaching the graduates, the students, referred to the MBA programme, managing the MBA programme and keeping them all together as herding cats, which I thought was a fantastic expression. So please, faculty members, keep doing what you're doing so that more students can share in the benefits of what you've given to us. We owe you a huge debt of gratitude, so thank you very much indeed for that. It is enormously appreciated. So again, if you show your applause, clap your hands and a bit of... Excellent, thank you very much. So next up are the TS Nimbus staff, who again, in my personal experience, have been without exception fantastic. I'm not going to name any names, but from the very first person you meet, recruitment to the very last person you meet, alumni, management, fantastic. Passionate people doing far beyond the job description to the benefit of the students. You know, and it's the staff members that give TS Nimbus that home from home feeling, that nice feeling when you go there on a Tuesday afternoon or wherever you go and have your lecture. So please, again, nice big round of applause for the staff. And the next group that needs to be thanked are the friends and families. Not always easy, a master's programme for the friends and family. So the first thing I'd like to say is thanks for coming. Thanks for all the support and encouragement. Our friends and families are the people that we love. And I'd like to thank all of the graduates again to have a think about what these people have sacrificed so you can make this achievement. So again, one really absolutely massive round of applause for the president. Oh yeah, personal note. When we got the management project guidelines, it said in it, it's unusual to put acknowledgements in a management paper. And for the first time in my life, I followed those guidelines. And then I spoke to a few people, and everyone had put acknowledgements in. And thanks to all the people who have made it happen. And I thought, Jonathan. So I'm going to hijack this speech just a little bit to make up those acknowledgements that were missing. First of all, Al, thank you very much for your excellent supervision. Dad, thanks for helping me organise it with Aintree and speaking to your CEO. And Rawls, you're the best thing that ever happened. Keep it together, John. And now, finally, as the last probably 10 minutes of my 5-minute speech approach, and having talked about the achievement of all the graduates, again, fantastic effort, after thanking all of the people that need to be thanked, let's spend just 1 minute on the future. It's not my place to tell you what you should do in the future, or how you should do it. It's not my place to challenge you to become the next CEO of ING, or that McKinsey consultant on €300 an hour, or an investment bank, or any other kind of pursuit. Each and every one of us has to follow our own path, find our own achievements, our own happiness, our own fulfillment in whichever way we're going to do it. But the one thing that I would like to urge you to do, it's a bit of repeating a theme, is to stay in touch with the people around you. I personally believe, and apparently I'm not the only one, that the most valuable form of capital is social capital. And that the social relationships that are made, the friendships that are made, the associations that you have. And again, if you look around, the people who are sitting here around you, close to you today, with the funny clothes on, they represent a massive resource that you can make the most out of. Make use of those people. That's the one thing I'd like to urge you to do. I see Philip and Sarah here today. It's an absolute delight being invited to be on the alumni board. And the thing that I've really been massively impressed by is how passionate these people are about making a success of the alumni network. So please, please, please come to the alumni events. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you've enjoyed my efforts here. Maybe not Elvis Presley, but that's life. I just want to wish you all the very best for the future. I hope you have a prosperous Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope to see you at the alumni event.
Dat is wel voor me.